Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. This is Lama Almustadi and I'm presenting my research here. The topic of my research is the effect of using nonverbal communication between teachers and students in classrooms. So let's begin with the statement of the problem. The problem that is tackled in this study is the absence of nonverbal communication between teachers and students in distance learning. This problem has a massive effect in the process of teaching and learning. As at least 70% of communication is nonverbal communication, the absence of the body language will make a huge difference, which demand a double effort from both teachers and students in order to make a substitute of teaching method that is missing. The definitions of key concepts that defined in my study are two. First one is the nonverbal communication. Second one is the distance education. Nonverbal communication. According to Deepika 2015, nonverbal communication can be defined as a silent form of communicating with a person without using any form of speech to grab the attention of audience or to exploit a message. Distance education, according to Hornberg 1977. Term distance education covers the various forms of study at all levels, which are not under the continuous immediate supervision of tutors present with their students in lecture rooms or on the same premises. And now let's discuss the gap between this study and the previous studies. The main difference between them is that this study relied on this situation of distance learning to clarify the data, meaning that the focus was on the effect of absence of body language between students and their teachers, while previous studies were studying its importance in general. This study is different from the previous studies in terms of setting, methodology, and participants. The two previous studies were conducted in Nepal and North Cyprus, while this study conducted in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. While the two previous studies, one of them was a qualitative study and the other one was quantitative, this study is mixed method. Regarding to the participants, the first previous study got the data with assistance from 10 teachers and 80 students, and the second previous study got it from 67 students. For this study, there is 5 teachers and 20 students who participate in collecting data. The question that this study answered is: what is the extent of the influence, importance, and effectiveness of using nonverbal communication in learning and understanding for both teachers and students? Let's move to the methodology section. Type of this research is mixed method research. First questionnaire is Likert scale, which is quantitative method. The second questionnaire is open-ended questions, qualitative method. The tools of the research was 2 different questionnaires. Participants of the research. The sample of this study includes participants as shown in the table. We have 2 different questionnaires. The first questionnaire shared with 20 students, their age between 21 and 24 years old. They were from both genders. The second questionnaire was shared with 5 teachers. Their age was not necessary to focus on, but the years of teaching experience was not less than 5 years. The teachers were from the female department from Yanbu University College. So what's the procedure of collecting data? First, sharing the questionnaire with 20 students of Yanbu University College. Each question analyzed individually. Then sharing the second questionnaire with 5 teachers of Yanbu University College. And the last step was comparing and contrasting between the students' and teachers' answers. So let's discuss the results of the two questionnaires. Let's start with the first questionnaire, which was with the students. The first statement says, I think that the absence of body language as a result of distance learning has affected the learning process. The results shows that 60% of students agree and strongly agree with this statement, while 20% of them were neutral and only 10% of them choose disagree and strongly disagree. On the other hand, there were positive responses in the second statement, which say, I find myself able to communicate my idea or question to the teacher without the need to use body language and gestures. I wouldn't need a redundant effort to get my ideas across. The majority of students are finding themselves able to communicate their ideas with their teachers, which is a good thing in situation of distance education. Let's move to statement number 3, which says, you can tell me a lot by someone's body language. This saying involves the learning framework. The answers of this statement are varied, but around 54% of participants agree with it. The statement number 4 says, I feel motivated and confident while studying from a distance, and the absence of my teacher's body language and his reactions do not make any difference. The many colors in this graph tell us it's absolutely clear that students are various and we can't find any unified answer. Their answers are completely different, which explained the differences between the students' nature and the students' confidence within them. The last statement of student questionnaire is that it says the nonverbal communication has been shown to have a greater effect than verbal communication, and the answers show that the participants who choose agree are equal of neutral, while there are 22% are disagree. And now let's move to the second questionnaire, the one that shared with teachers, and that questionnaire helped us getting the whole view about our topic. The first question is, do you think the nature of the subjects differs in the need of use body language while teaching? And the results show that 3 teachers answered yes, while one of them answered no. Then we have the question that asks, how do you find students while studying online classes? Are they motivated? The majority of answers agree that students are not motivated through the distance education, while one teacher mentioned that some students are motivated. The third question that the researcher asked is, do you think the teacher can give his or her pupils motivation and confidence equally in traditional classes and online classes? And the results show that most of the teachers said no, They are not equally able to give students motivation in traditional classes and distance classes. While one teacher said an important point, which is giving motivation often depends on the nature of subjects. The most important question for me as a researcher was, do you think in distance education teachers feel more limited in teaching methods and capabilities? And all answers are shown that teachers feel more limited in teaching methods and capabilities. All the participants answered yes. To summarize all the important points in this study, education is the heart of the development of cultures and the economic environment. As a result, it's the responsibility of researchers to explore and discover all that encourages and positively affects the learning of students and teachers, as this will improve their academic achievement. Learning can be supported by the successful use of nonverbal communication. This research was carried out to determine the impact of nonverbal communication had on students and teachers. Let's move to the last part of this study, which is the recommendation. These recommendations are suggested based on the results. Teachers are recommended to activate their nonverbal communication through the traditional classes. Teachers are recommended to deficiency compensation that resulted of the absence of using their body language, which mean creating a teaching methods that are suitable with the studying from distance. Students are recommended to try to bridge the gap between them and their teachers by effectively communicating with them in distance education. Students are recommended to intentionally show they are motivated in front of their teachers, which will make their communication stronger. Finally, may Allah give the help for everyone who spreads the knowledge. We hope that our education will be successful, whether in traditional classes or in distance education. We also ask Allah to remove this pandemic so that life and education return to the normal. Thank you for everyone who participated in this study, and thank you for Miss Nadia for her supports.